It is July 25th, I believe, Friday the 25th. And I had a very unusual week, something I had not planned on doing or have happening. I woke up the other day, it was actually Wednesday morning, 2 days ago, and somehow the lute was on my mind. And in particular, because I used to play these. I used to play this. This is a Renaissance lute built in the late 70s for me by a guy named Daniel Hatches, who is now still building double basses, I believe, in Washington. And I was playing a lot of Renaissance music at the time, and this was my weapon of choice, I guess, for a while. That was a piece called Kemp's Jig that I just played there, so this whole thing, the bug that bit me Wednesday morning was actually about this instrument's big brother. This is a 10-course lute, which means it's got 10 pairs of strings, although the top string is single, so there's really 19 strings on it, and the top 6 are tuned much like a guitar. And the bottom 4 are just open bass notes. This is the equivalent of a G here. It's the equivalent of a guitar being capoed at the 3rd fret. So I've got a G string here, an F here, an E flat here, a D here, and a C way down there. Now, those strings are generally only played open. And as years went on, they kept adding more strings. So a lute like this was popular in the early 1600s, the first half of the early Baroque, late Renaissance, early Baroque time. And I've played a lot of stuff by John Dowland in particular on this. Now, as time went on, I'm going to do something, this is really stupid because this is kind of painful, and I want to show you its big brother. So this is a Renaissance lute. This is what I was having my dream about. This is a Baroque lute, and this is the kind that was around in Bach's day in 100 years later. And Bach wrote some pieces for it. They added more and more strings. The tuning is completely different, and the chances of this being in tune are really slim. That's close enough. The top 6 courses are tuned to a D minor chord, and then there is a whole octave's worth of bass notes below it. G, F, E flat, D, C, B, B flat, A, and G. Now, I don't think I can actually play anything on this, but the reason this has been in disrepair for about 20 years, and at least 10. I had to replace a fret. That's what woke me up in the middle of the night, early Wednesday morning. It's like, you know what, don't be such a wimp. Put the frets back on. They're just pieces of gut tied around the neck. And so, I don't think I can get through this, but I used to play this Bach gavotte. Wow, that was right. Now I have to look at the second part. Let me think. Lost. Let me start again. Last chance. Oop. I need that B flat. Hitting the right bass note is almost impossible on this thing. So I am not giving up my day job of being a guitar teacher and player, but yeah, I just got, this instrument is beautiful. This is alternating strips of maple and rosewood, and the top is carved into this, what looks like a plate of spaghetti. So again, this was built in the late 70s by Daniel Hatches, and I'm really glad I never got rid of them. But back to my day job. So, what was I going to tell you? But there's a lot going on this week. We had a couple of uploads, student uploads, and this was great. want to thank Stephen for putting up a couple of cool tunes. He's got another one coming up, so I hope had a chance. I hope everybody's had a chance to take a look at my review of that. As has happened with other songs that Steve has put up, I will probably do a lesson on that because it turned out it was just a great tune. That's, of course, In My Room. What else? We had some new stuff. A Bellamy Brothers tune that was kind of a country hit here in the United States, Let Your Love Flow. And I could have sworn I had done this lesson. And turns out I had just done a lesson on a finger-picking version of it and had never branched that out into James Taylor's version, which is what my faulty memory said, oh yeah, I know I did that. So we had somebody play this at camp last year or back in the spring, and it was had reminded me that I got to get that in there. So we had a new James Taylor lesson, his arrangement that was on Sweet Baby James of Oh Susanna, and that's been added now. We also have a new James Taylor pack out, the Essential James Taylor, which includes, and I'm pretty sure my plan right now is as we add more James Taylor songs, they will all go into this pack. So the Essential James Taylor will be a complete pack of every James Taylor song that we have here. I think there are 12 of them in it now, most of which are from Mudslide Slim and Sweet Baby James. But there's a couple later ones. I didn't get to Handyman, did I? No. Copperline, Millworker, Mexico. So anyway, I think that's the news on the big stuff. I mostly wanted to talk about dates, some important dates coming up. We're going to do a TG Live. Again, it's been a long time since we did the last one. I can't even remember now. Our plan was to do one of these about every quarter, and somehow it fell through the cracks. So August 16th, 11 o'clock, so that's a Saturday, August 16th, 11 o'clock Pacific time, so that a few members that are in Europe may be able to join us. It won't be too late there. So I'll tell you more about what we're going to do there. I'm kind of working on, it's going to be really fun, I guarantee. The last time what we did was I broke down Gordon Lightfoot's song, If You Could Read My Mind, and slightly modified it from the extensive tablature that I have in the lesson, and that makes it a lot more approachable, I think. So I'm going to do the same thing with, it's going to be James Taylor stuff. What the heck, I'll spill the beans. It's going to be tips and techniques that James Taylor uses, and we'll talk about some of his intros and stuff, and we'll have info out pretty soon about how you can register for it. It's free, and everybody who attends will be able to have access to a video of it as well. So, but the way we run these is you just have to register in advance, and then you get to find out when and where, how to access it. So that's August 16th. The next Saturday, August 23rd, my friend Robert and his band Jangatos are playing in Santa Cruz, and again, we will be giving away some tickets to this. So if you're in Northern California and you'd like to catch the Gypsy Jazz show at the Cumbla in Santa Cruz, keep August 23rd open. Let's see. I think that's almost all the announcements I had. I wanted to talk a little bit about some cool things that I've seen on the forum lately. A little bit more interaction with the forum, which is great because there are some great suggestions have come up for songs, and I'm always looking for that. Now, somebody asked, there was a slack key tune that came up, and I'm considering that Pine Tree Slack Key, I think it was called, and I will. I'm definitely rolling that one through the thought process. Rod Stewart, Mandolin Wind is the one that I'm thinking about too. It's basically pretty easy, so I'd have to kind of look at it and see, well, what can we do to make this difficult? That's what I like to do with songs, is make them interesting and challenging. Sometimes difficult comes along with that. The Doobie Brothers song that somebody brought up the other day, Clear as the Driven Snow, is very cool, and it's a finger-picking Patrick Simmons song. I only listened to it briefly with that. I'm familiar with the song because I've got the album. It was on The Captain and Me, and I've played it, have worn it out over the years, I'm sure. But it is, of course, they don't get as worn out now that we're playing them on the computer. But the LP is right over there in the record rack. And anyway, So it was the first time I really listened to it to see what was going on. I'm pretty sure it's in open D and pretty easy to play, but some of the little subtleties that are going on when he's singing. It's a little difficult to hear. So that's definitely on my hit list though. But you know what? I was thinking I'm not really going to do a theory thing in this one because I thought I had too much to talk about. But it looks like I've got through almost everything on my list. Yeah. Except what I didn't show you. Let me show you this. This is, I'll have to get a better copy. This is the book I was reading that piece from, the Gavotte. This is a Gavotte from Bach's suite in G minor that I think it was a cello suite as well, but it was at least a lute suite. And the music to this looks, I handed this to one of my students the other day, and she looked at it and she turned it over. So like, is this upside down? That's what it looks like. And this is lute tablature from the early 18th century. This is a facsimile book that I have of Bach pieces, including a famous fugue. Which I can't fake my way through right now. But that theme right there was a piece that was also popular on the lute, as was this. That prelude that we play on the guitar in D minor was a lute prelude too. That might even be in this book. I can't remember now. But I had trouble finding the book after I went to the trouble to put the frets back on the lute. I only fixed 2 frets. But okay, enough looting. The last thing I was going to talk about was a request came in from Dean, one of our longtime members over in the UK, who happened to come to one of our camps in Amsterdam. It was great to meet some of our European members. The 2 years we did small camps in Amsterdam, just a half a dozen people or so at each one. And Samaya, boy, I just even saw a picture of us when we were out at Samaya. Makes me think of my friends out there, Nesh and Karina and Chris, and anyway. Okay, so the request that Dean came in with reminding me of something I had said. You know, a lot of times I'll end a lesson or a pack or a course, let's say, saying, well, if there's interest, I might come back to more of this. And I said that at the end of Lead Secrets, and I've talked a lot about here, even just on the news, of using the top 3 strings to play just triads in the E family, the A family, and the D family. Really just talking about using them as major and minor. So there was the 3 different versions, and then if I was playing through a progression like Puff the Magic Dragon, I might use a D shape at the 7th fret, going to an E minor shape at the 7th for the B minor chord, to an E major shape for the C chord, and then back to G. And I might go to a different shape. So my little accompaniment for Puff, while somebody's doing this, I might go. Now, right there, you should have been able to hear that sounded like the progression to Puff, but that's a second guitar part. So if I'm going to go into, I am going to go into this, and I'm going to give you a teaser right now for something you could work on if you're familiar with those. And that would be to figure out how to play 7th chords out of each of those same 3 families. Major 7, dominant 7, and minor 7th. So 3 additional members of the E, A, and D family. Now, some will be easy. The D family, well, you know D7, right? So I just did that as a matter of fact. In Puff, a chord near the end of the 2nd line was A7, and so I went to a D shape at the 9th fret, but I played it as D7, and that gives me an A7 chord. Now, 7th chords have 4 notes in them. if I'm only playing 3 strings, I'm not getting the whole chord. But I want to prioritize the 7th, so I need to make sure that I get the 7th in there at the expense of any one of the other notes. Because it doesn't matter. I've got somebody else playing lower notes. Like even if I lose the root of the chord, nobody cares. So when I went to my A7 here, somebody else was playing an A7 chord down here, and it all sounded great. Then I went to a D7 chord out of the E family at the 10th fret. So my challenge to you, and maybe next week I'll go in, maybe by next week I'll finish this whole idea now that I've got this ball rolling instead of just kicking it around down the street again. Challenge to you would be, if you're familiar with those, figure out how to get all 3 common 7th chords out of each family. And a couple of them are gonna, well, don't give too much away. No, I can give the whole thing away. When you play a 7th chord, you've got 4 notes. Well, in those 4 notes, you actually have 2 different triads that are part of that chord. You've got the triad that is not the 7th. So if I'm talking about, let's go with F major 7. F major is F, A, C. So if I play an F, an A, and a C, I've got F major. Now I can make that major 7 by adding the E to it. So there's a common way of playing an F major 7 chord. But if I want to play just the top 3 strings of that, I would lose the F, and now I just have the A, the C, and the E. And it's okay, because somebody else is playing the F, the piano player or the bass player or the first guitar player. Well, when I start moving that shape up, I'm thinking of this as F major 7, and I have no Fs in there. If I move it up a whole step, it's G major 7. But this looks a lot like B minor. It is. The 3 notes that make up B minor happen to be the other 3 notes in a G major 7 chord other than the G. If I want to get the G in here with this, I have to get it in. Here's my full 4-string major 7 shape out of the E family. But if I omit the note on the 4th string, the root, I'm left with notes that look like B minor. So that's going to be true. Most of these 7th chords that you'll solve, I think, will end up looking like another triad, especially when it's in the E family, because you may remove the root and be left with 3 notes that are a different triad. Okay, enough of that. Let me play something to get me out of here. I should play so in my James Taylor lesson, first we started with this, right? Then he goes into the jazzy version. I'm just doing a little instrumental. We'll be back next week.